Step back and watch the step cook.
You want 17 birds? Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. Hit my line if you want 17 birds. Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. I know a guy if you want 17 birds. Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. I know a guy if you want 17 birds. Big ring, I play for the 17 birds. Yeah, I'm from the 17th.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me get some light in here real quick. You know what I'm saying? We got a special one for y'all today. We sprinkle in a little GOAT talk, sprinkle in a little Tone the Shields, sprinkle in a little Bird Gang 31, and we're going to get real active. We got some good news. We're going to talk about these injuries. We're going to talk about the GOAT being back. You know what I mean? And when I say GOAT, I do mean Jalen Hurts. You know what I mean? And, let's say what's up to the fellas. What's going on, Mike? How y'all feeling?
I'm feeling good. Anytime our franchise guy is deemed to be playing, put a smile on my face. And whether we really need him to beat the Giants backups, we talk about Davis Webb. I just want to see my man throw the rock before the games get spicy. So I'm ready to see some Jalen Hurts football.
Facts. Bird Gang, how you feeling, bro?
Man, I'm feeling great as always. Thank you guys for.
Tone, how you feeling?
I think we lost for a little bit, but man, listen, I always tell y'all, man, I'm always grateful to chop it up with the fellas. Always grateful for the opportunity, as always, man. But feeling good, life's good, family's good, and no complaints over here, man. So I'm ready to get into that GOAT talk, as y'all would say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So he's definitely back. You know what I mean? It's been a lot of debate whether he should play or not, regardless of the circumstances. For one, this is my take on that situation. I feel like this is a must play. I feel like this is probably, if not the most important game of his career, I think this is the most important game of his career, whether it's against backups or not. This is a strictly must win. You got to go out here and get the division, and you got to get this bye, and it solely rests on your shoulders due to the incompetence of the offense without you being in it. So I think that, he has to play. It don't matter about injury or anything. I just think he got to play.
No, I co-sign that. Like, if you ask me, do I want him to play? Should he play? All signs from me say yes, play. Especially because this is the utmost important game. It's to finish what we set out to do and get that number one seed. It sucks that it's taken us this long, as LB said, due to the incompetence of the offense with the coach and staff, Gardner Minshew. But the simple fact is this: not playing football for a month is not easy to come back in when the games matter. So the rust factor, him just throwing the rock, I want to see it.
Yeah, you said something real key for me, Mike. The fact that if he didn't play, let's just say we did clinch the number one seed in Dallas, right? Let's just say that did happen. You would have essentially had this man out of action for well over a month. Mm-hmm. I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with that at all. Even if we did clinch the number one seed against Dallas or New Orleans, I would have wanted him to come out and play at least a series or two, or at least a quarter. Maybe not a half, because you'll have him out there a little too long, but at least a quarter, just to keep that arm loose, just to keep them legs loose, just to keep him sharp, just to have him still familiar with how it feel to take a hit from those defenses that's going to try to target him. Let's make that real clear. I was talking about this, and I know the Eagles run a lot of the RPOs and the options, so on and so forth. Don't be surprised if you start to see guys crash on a running back purposely just to get him in space, and then they try to crack him. These defensive guys, they're very familiar with who's hurt and who not, who got a little limp, who got a little gimp, and they walk. They real familiar. So ultimately, not to stray too far off, I'm happy he's playing. He needs to play. This game is probably the most important of his career. I think maybe the most defining game of his career would have been Dallas, but obviously that happened the way it happened and he couldn't play. But what's done is done. You got to focus on the now and what's to come, and that's the playoffs. And it's a big difference between the number one seed and the number 5 seed. And having that number one seed in Philadelphia, I tell people, look, I love my team to death. I hold it down, but if they don't get this number one seed, they're not getting it done. I'm sorry. That's just my humble opinion.
I can kind of co-sign that. You know what I mean? Bird Gang, man, how you feel about Jalen Hurts playing? You think he got to play? You know what I mean? What's your thoughts on that?
I feel like he has to play and he has to have a great game. I want to see him light it up the whole first half so he can sit out the rest of the second half. He missed 2 games. He was leading MVP candidate. And I think with him being out, it might have helped him out a little bit, just for the simple fact that, the team didn't operate the way it did when he was in the football game. So I want to see him go out there and play well early so we can get him out and, get ready for this bye. Like, I personally thought he should have played in the Dallas game, wrapped it up then. He could have had like a good 4 or 5 weeks to heal that shoulder up before the first round, but they decided to be extra careful with him. And that's cool. You got to respect that. And, it is what it is.
So this is how I'm looking at it as well.
My bad, LB. I don't mean to
No,
hijack
go
real
ahead.
quick. I just got a question for Bird Gang. So you would have been comfortable with him being off for well over a month?
Yeah. You don't just
that's what I was going to touch on, because I'm not totally mad at that, because a lot of people screamed and cried when he didn't play in the preseason. Then he came out against the Detroit Lions and went ham. That was a shootout. You know what I mean? If you don't have Jalen Hurts in that game, you win. But these are different circumstances. You're talking about not playing for 4 weeks, 5 weeks or whatever, getting all of this rest, and then going into the playoffs. The playoffs is different than week 1.
Playoffs.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you talk about the playoffs now.
Playoffs.
So like I like the fact that he's coming back this week in a must-win situation. Then you get to take a week off again and reflect, and then jump right back into must-win mode. So I'm completely fine with the way that it panned out, because the Giants basically chickened out. You know what I mean? We're gonna call a spade a spade. If I'm the Giants, I'm playing everybody. I'm trying to knock the Eagles down to the 5th seed. That's old school football. That's how football used to be played. They just laid down. It's cool. We're gonna take it from them now.
Well, the thing is, the Giants ain't been in the playoffs in a long time. So they just trying to make sure that when they get there, they want it to last as long as possible. They don't want to. And let's be honest, that Giants team, Daniel Jones been playing better. But if they lose a Jones or a Barkley, they might as well not even show up to that first round. So I respect the way they're doing it. Per Jalen Hurts, if we would have beat the Saints, I still would have wanted to see Jalen Hurts in a quarter or two, because of the amount of games and the amount of time missed. Again, LB, you're right. The Eagles have been a team that plays good off the bye, plays good week 1, where there could be some rust in them 2 factors. However, playoffs are the playoffs. And I do want to see how that shoulder functions. I want to see how the coaching staff calls the game, because as Tone said, if a guy knows you have an injury or you're bruised somewhere, they go and lean a little harder. It's harder to do that to the quarterback in the pocket, but trust and believe, we've seen it time and time again. If somebody got a finger, they smacking at that finger. You're in a pile. They gonna do some extra stuff in there as well. The quarterback does get the luxury of, you can't really do nothing, but that don't count if Jalen Hurts tucks that ball and runs. So playoffs are playoffs. You got to play every single snap like it's your last. And Jalen Hurts got that mentality. But I don't want to see no RPO design runs in the Giants game. I want him to get back in the flow of throwing.
Yeah.
Save the running for when the games matter. Because, and as BG said, I think we should only need Jalen for a half. It should be like a 20-3, 20-7 game at the half. Who is Davis Webbs? You know what I mean? They're not even playing Tyrod Taylor. They really just packing this one in. So that being said, let Jalen go out there. If you score 20 points and a half, the offense is exactly where it needs to be going into the playoffs, and you will get that bye. So another little week of rest as we got to see Dallas, Giants, Vikings, Niners. We get to see what these teams are really made of.
And to your point about the rest, right? And if he did have the whole month off, to your point, and also this speaks to how shaky they've been in these past few weeks. The Eagles, and let's not go without saying, right? The Eagles have entered the playoffs, most notably as the Super Bowl season, the 17 bird season. Shout out to my man LB. They've entered the playoffs with not the most momentum before, right? We all know that stretch of games when Nick Foles was kind of up and down, the team was kind of still filling it out. They didn't enter that playoff run with the most momentum. And we saw in that divisional round that they started off a little flat. They really couldn't get the offense popping until the second half. I think at that point they figured out the RPO system with Nick Foles. And then at that point, they was off to the races. I say all that to say, you can change your entire season. You can change your entire narrative with 1 week of football. And that's what I love about this game, right? That's what I love about this. You can change the entire scope of your run with one game. So to the point about the extra rest, some people really buy in the momentum, some people not so much. And the Eagles entering the playoffs with not the most momentum in 2017 kind of leans into the maybe momentum is a bit overrated. But regardless, though, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think it's one of those things where you got to do what's best for your squad and really have the pulse of your squad. And I'll admit, I got some minor concerns about the coaching staff, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I know we got a lot of stuff that we're going to get into.
Mm-hmm.
But even with that thing, Tone,
go ahead.
I feel like we lost momentum. You know, we had momentum going all the way up until, you know, those 2 losses. So we lost momentum in those 2 losses without our quarterback in terms of the overall team. You know, that's why I said that Dallas game is way bigger than the Saints game, way bigger than the Giants game. You know, they're one of the best teams in the league right now. You go out there, play one more week. You know, you threw, over 100 and some yards, you know, with the sprained shoulder anyway. You know, this is football. I feel like we kind of always want to pamper, you know, these players nowadays. They get paid a lot of money to go play football in all kind of conditions. You know, you see Lane out there. He plays when he's hurt most of the time, except for this last injury. Kelsey plays hurt all the time. He always talks about it. You know, sometimes you just got to go out there and do it, you know. And I think that game would have had so much more magnitude. It would put us in like chill mode. We would have locked up the division, you know, already, you know, with the 2 games left. It wouldn't even matter. We wouldn't even have to play the last 2 games. Like you said, we could throw them in, you know, to get a quarter or 2. The starters get a quarter or 2 each of the last 2 games. But we already did what we needed to do. So you didn't have to worry about, you know, the rest of your quarterback from there on out. Like, you know, Jalen Hurts still get practice. You know what I'm saying? Like when he was healed, no matter what, I'm pretty sure, you know, that first week bye, he's going to be practicing. He's going to be out there with Devontae. He's going to be out there with, you know, AJ doing his thing. So that's why I really felt like he should have just manned it up and got rid of it. And it would have looked better for our team. We would have never lost no momentum because we wouldn't have cared. You know, we had no one seed. We wouldn't have cared if we lost to the Saints. We wouldn't have cared if we lost to the Giants. So we probably wouldn't even been playing all of our players to begin with.
That's not where you want to be at, though. I don't think you want to be in a we don't care state. You know what I mean? I think you always want to have some urgency. I think you want to always have some urgency going into the playoffs. I think rest. Anybody can rest besides your quarterback. That's how I feel about rest. Quarterbacks can't go into the playoffs with 4 weeks of rest. Lane Johnson don't need to play tomorrow. You need to find a way to win without Lane Johnson. You see what I'm saying? As long as Jalen Hurts is playing, you should still be able to win this game. You know what I mean? Lane Johnson should only play in the playoffs. You know what I mean? I think Jalen Hurts can overcome not having Lane Johnson in this game. Now, if the Philadelphia Eagles come out here and play Lane Johnson, knowing that he's hurt, then you can see, I guess you can check the temperature within the organization of how much they need to win this game. But I don't think Lane Johnson needs to play at all in this game. You're going to the playoffs regardless. Jalen Hurts needs to play because there could be some type of rust factor. And you cannot – listen, don't be surprised if this game, I'm not going to say it's a nail biter, but don't be surprised if things look a little out of sorts the first couple series. Like he ain't playing 3 weeks. You know what I mean? He got to play today.
Yeah, and I'm always, look, call me pampering them. I'm going to pamper my guys. I don't care. Listen, at the end of the day, if I got a rusty Jalen Hurts or no Jalen Hurts, I'm going to take the rusty Jalen Hurts because hopefully by quarter 2, quarter 3, when the game gets serious, it's not a 1-quarter game. He going to get it done. So I'll always rather have my guy there and have a little rust than to take the chance of him not being there. And so, you know, Saints game, if they would have played him, it is what it is. But I couldn't see him coming back in the Dallas game right after that hit. And I know he was slinging the rock in the second half, but that adrenaline kicked in, right? When he went home, he was throwing a rock, but I guarantee when he went home, just doing this probably hurt. You know what I mean? That night. So I think we're in a good spot, though, because of who the Giants are trotting out. I wasn't scared of the Giants with Jalen Hurts if they were at full steam, but they're trotting out not just the third string quarterback, but think about that offensive line. We're going to be going against no-name guys. So I think we're really going to have a game that we can, you know, get a lot of kinks out. We should go ahead and take the record from the 85 Bears. We should sack this David Webb's guy like crazy. Yeah. I think this is a good, you know, bring back all the fundamentals type game. Just go out there and play Eagles football. And as Tone said, this is a week by week. What have you done for me lately? So the narrative is look at the Eagles. They're not who we thought they were. Well, of course, we didn't have Jalen Hurts, but one big win or one Eagle style win in this game against backups, and we'll be feeling really good watching the playoffs week 1 from our recliner.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Man, go ahead, Tom.
Do y'all think this 2-game losing streak, by the way, obviously this is the first losing streak they've experienced all year, so it's kind of foreign territory for this roster as a collective. But they've experienced their first 2-game losing streak. And I want to know, do you guys think this losing streak could become a blessing in disguise. And the reason I asked that is because, I believe more so the coaching staff got a little bit overconfident. And I think overconfidence is just as deadly as not having any confidence at all. And losing forces you to revisit your flaws as a team and as a coaching staff. So do you think this 2-game losing streak, losing to the Cowboys, and then you really get embarrassed against the New Orleans Saints, do you think this 2-game losing streak was a blessing in disguise and forced that coaching staff to kind of revisit the flaws of this team?
I think so. I think you got to revisit the flaws of the team. But at the end of the day, they still got that security net named we didn't have Jalen Hurts. Now, it's different if you go, you see what I'm saying? It wasn't with Hurts, so do it really count? It's different when you go through something like that. With Jalen Hurts ain't lose back-to-back games all year. You see what I'm saying? Jalen Hurts you ain't lose a game because of Jalen Hurts all year. It's different if you losing games with your guy in. Gardner Minshew was out there. Gardner Minshew trash. We're gonna call a spade a spade. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're just gonna keep it a buck. Gardner Minshew just ain't as good as Jalen Hurts, so that trickles down. The quarterback position is the most important position on the field. You know what I mean? And Gardner Minshew, 3 straight 3-and-outs. Those are things we haven't experienced. So you got to look at it like, what was the decide? We ain't got to coach up Gardner Minshew to get better. We just got to plug and play the guy who is the system. You know what I mean? So I think that they can probably get a little too cocky now that they got their guy back and start trying to do too much. You know what I mean? I think still simple is the best recipe for this team, and letting Jalen Hurts, figure it out with his mind, what he's been doing all year. You know what I mean? I just don't want them to put too much on his plate. Just let him execute and run the offense the way he's been doing, and you're gonna get a win. It's been a proven method.
Yeah, real quick, hindsight, I would have to co-sign what Tone said, for the simple fact that part of this whole season, me really watching the coaching staff, and I got this from 97.5 The Fanatic, and I agree with this. The coaching staff, when everything's going good, they know how to continue the good play calling, just riding high. But through adversity in these two weeks, the coaches were as bad as Minshew. You know what I mean? The coaches made Minshew look as bad. Huh?
I'll take it as far as 3 weeks, but I don't want to knock you off.
Oh, yeah. The Bears game, because there's no reason why that they shouldn't have. The Bears and the Saints game plan should have been the same. It should have been give the ball to your 1,200-yard back and then do what you got to do. Now, I said this in my last video. Of course, just because a team is 25th in rush defense don't mean they're not going to play good for one game. And a team who's bad at rush defense pretty much figures, how the Eagles going to come into this game? They're going to run the ball. So they might put extra guys in the box, right? They might make it tough to run. But Nick Sirianni will see that and abandon it before we even know if it's successful or not. And so I think, yes, if the Bears' bad rush defense comes out in the first quarter and stifles our 9 run attempts with Miles Sanders, then change it up. But you can't just automatically think that they're going to stifle us if they haven't done it yet. And, both the Bears game and the Saints game, Miles Sanders had 2 carries in the first half of the Saints. He ain't touched the ball in the Bears game until the 6-minute mark of the second quarter. That is just uncalled for. So I've been on record saying the extremes. Nick Sirianni and Jonathan Gannon go extreme this way or extreme this way. They not really balance. And I think that against Washington, we went extreme. We got beat. Then we started playing balance again. But then we beat the Colts. We beat the Texans. We beat the Packers. We beat the Titans. We beat the Giants. I'm feeling my shit. And then you go ahead and start looking bad against the Bears, against the Cowboys, against the Saints. So again, I'm never going to say before the loss that it's a good loss because I want to win every Sunday. I'll be pissed. Y'all see me on the live streams. But at the end of the day, the coaching staff has shown they need to get smacked around a couple times and wake up and smell the coffee type thing. So, yeah, when it's going good, they're good. But through adversity, these coaching staff, they got to be better.
I agree. What do you think, especially on the offside of the ball, do you think it's more like we're going to play Minshew? He is going to be a free agent. We're going to help this guy out. Let's give him some passing. Let's save Miles Sanders. Everybody said Miles was kind of hurt. He had a leg brace on or whatever. So let's save Miles Sanders. And we already know the situation. We're playing with house money right now. We're hoping that we can pull out one of these wins. We should be able to. We had a lot of people out on defense as well. You know what I'm saying? Like we had a lot of star players out. If you go back to the Dallas game, if Vontae Maddox stays in that game, that could be different. Jordan Davis went out for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? That we had some banged up players to the point where they were just playing with house money and they were really just utilizing Minshew and see what we really had with them. Do we need to go out this offseason and get a quarterback or not? You know, a new backup quarterback or not? Are we going to re-sign them?
I got a little bit of a problem with that, BG, because we're in the middle of a Super Bowl attempt. There's no way I'm making decisions for the offseason for Gardner Minshew's future in the middle of a Super Bowl potential run. I'm not thinking like that at all. If they were, shame on them. You know, to your point, the game plan for Minshew was abysmal. It looked like they really didn't try to put him in situations like for him to succeed. I honestly think the coaches sleptwalk. They probably they really thought to themselves, hey, you know what? It's the Saints. We're gonna go in there, even if it's an ugly one, we're gonna win that game. You know, so they didn't bother to change the game plan. They pretty much the game plan for the Cowboys game was actually better than the Saints game. So you can make an argument these past 3 weeks, especially when they faced the Bears and the Saints, they played down to the competition. I think LB said this, right? Or I don't know if it was Mike. I can't remember. Memory short as hell. But literally, I think one of y'all said, I lost my train of thought. But the bottom line is the coaching staff slut-walked these past few weeks. And I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan. You got Miles Sanders, you running in Chicago with the quarterback. The ground is hard as a brick. You know what I'm saying? Like, and 9 times out of 10, I believe this. They're not bringing Miles Sanders back, and it's not because of his talent. It's a money thing. I don't think he's coming back. You run that man into the dirt straight like that. Chicago was a game where you make him earn that paycheck more than anything.
I agree, man. Let me get to some of these super chats real quick before they start to pile up. My guy D-Lo said, "What's good, family? What's going on, D-Lo? You already know the vibes. Thank you for the super chat." Les Grossman, what's going on? He said, "We are getting the 1 seed. I feel like our first opponent will be Green Bay if they play San Fran or the New York Giants. If they play Minnesota, thoughts?" I ain't gonna hold you, bro. I don't want to play Green Bay
at all.
I ain't gonna hold you. I don't want to play Tom or Aaron Rodgers in the first round. Anybody else, I think. Anybody else?
We're not playing in the first round. We played in the second round.
No, yeah. I don't want to play neither one of them guys in the division.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
I would love to get the Giants. I would love Minnesota to pull some Kirk Cousins primetime stuff. Let Kirk lose to the Giants and let them come back to the link. And I would love if all we got to do is beat the Giants and get to the NFC Championship.
They already hate us, bro. They gonna hate us if it's that sweet. Because you know what I mean? They're not gonna like that.
That would mean Dallas have lost. None of that. If Dallas loses to the Bucks, that's a great week of clowning. Then if all we got to do is beat the Giants to get back to the NFC Championship, oh my goodness.
I mean, listen, I'll take it. But you know, we talk about Jalen Hurts, right? You know what I mean? We talk about Jalen Hurts and we talk about, you know, the situations that he was in and, you know, the situations that the team was in after him. But we can't forget about some real key acquisitions on the defensive side of the ball returning. You know, Gardner Johnson, I think he still might lead the league in interceptions. You know, I think that, you know, right. I think that Jonathan Gannon has been blessed to have a player of that talent level because you really can still play the same trash scheme. You know what I mean? Some guys are just interchangeable within how bad the scheme is. One guy being Hassan Reddick, who should probably be defensive player of the year, and the other guy being Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. They thrive no matter where you put them at on the field. You're getting a guy like that back at this magnitude. I really don't see Jonathan Gannon really changing too much when you get Chauncey Gardner-Johnson back. Then you get Robert Quinn back. Robert Quinn is about to be worth his weight in gold, especially if Josh Sweat is not 100%. Robert Quinn is fully rested. Robert Quinn should really start making some noise in his postseason, helping out alongside the edge. I think Robert Quinn gets a sack this Sunday. You know what I mean? I think he gets a sack this Sunday and helps us get close to that record. So, you know, a lot of people are coming back. A lot of things are starting to look more familiar to how they were looking when we was just tearing up the NFL during the regular season. But this last 2 weeks not going to get me down. You know what I mean? It's not going to get me down at all because everything that we set our sights out is right in front of us. We're healthy enough to get a Super Bowl this year. So the injury situation, I'm glad nobody was hurt long term. But, you know, right now is when we got to start thinking about what are the key things that got us feeling down about ourselves. And for me, the main thing is Jonathan Gannon. Jonathan Gannon, you know, how many more times do we got to say it? The Saints game in itself showed me that Jonathan Gannon is not going to change anything. Jonathan Gannon is stubborn, and Jonathan Gannon is going to always take too long to adjust. You could tell me about not giving up no points in the second half, but what the hell did you do in the first half? You let guys go 14 for 14. You ain't really changed nothing up. I'm terrified of Jonathan Gannon, which is why I don't want to see Rodgers or Brady. Shit, I don't even want to see Dak Prescott with Jonathan Gannon out there.
Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna say this real quick about JG. Yeah, look, there was a stretch where I didn't say his name at all, so I give him some kudos, but he still is the guy. Like he's shown stretches of being a pretty good coordinator, right? But in the same, no, I said stretches. Think about the Titans game, the Giants game. They were pretty darn good called games. The Vikings game, but he is the guy who can go from good to. In my eye, he's the biggest, like the consistency of Hurts, the consistency of the offense, the consistency of everything else has been consistent. You might get a little backpedaling from a certain group, but Jonathan Gannon is the one that can really just blow up at any time because of that soft zone. He just plays it too much. He gets too comfortable with it. And yeah, I would still say JG scares me. Although, again, he's had some good games. I'm not going to not talk about the good games and only talk about the bad games. But if you ask me who can choke the most in a playoff run or how we could choke, it could be to a quarterback just completing 80% of his passes and just bang, bang, boom, boom, chipping us down the field.
And this is the thing. So Joe Castro, he put out Philly podcast. He put out this interesting tweet. It made me do a little digging. It says the Eagles defense has been on the field for a total of 1,009 snaps. Of those snaps, they had a lead in 706. Jonathan Gannon don't know how to play come from behind or make the adjustment football. Jalen Hurts has been the perfect fragrance to mask how bad he stinks because Jalen Hurts been playing with a lead. Jalen Hurts the offense been clicking. You know what I mean? AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, everybody been eating. So Jonathan Gannon really never had to really go out there and shut nobody down. You know what I mean? It's his first time having to really shut somebody down, was probably in Dallas and in the Saints back-to-back weeks, and he wasn't able to do it. You can't get off the field on the 3rd and 30. You know what I mean? That's Gannon's fault. Yeah, it's the adjustments. This is how playoff adjustments got to go. In the playoffs, defensive coordinators, you got to adjust by the series. You can't wait till fucking halftime to have a conversation and huddle up and say, this is what we're going to do now. It's too late then. You got to listen. If they are cooking us on out routes on that series, the next series we shutting down out routes and making them do something else. You just can't let nobody keep cooking you, bro. And, Minshew can't come back from a 14-point lead. He's trash. So you got to be able, you know what I mean? You got to be able to adjust on the fly when you're going to get this. Everybody damn near elite except Purdy. In the playoffs, everybody is elite except Purdy. In the NFC, Kirk Cousins is an elite passer. You got to be on your A game, man. You got to be on your A game.
Yeah.
Let me just say this real quick before you go, Tone. I want to say, and again, I think the whole tale Jonathan Gannon is if he comes in with a game plan that works, it works really good. Again, the Vikings, the Titans, the Giants, even the Colts game, he only held them to whatever points. But when he has to adjust, if he gets beat, right, if a team goes down the field on the first drive and just kills us, it takes them too long to adjust, and sometimes it's a little too late. I do not like the soft zones. I do not like the late adjustments. And again, that's why I think he's still the X factor, because if Jonathan Gannon ain't calling the game good by the first 2 series, well, it ain't his game. He has to have the defense on point from the start. And think about our best defensive performances. All the games that we played our best defense, it was from quarter 1 to quarter 4. There was no adjustments needed to be made. We came out, we shut down Derrick Henry from the start. We beat up Saquon Barkley and the Giants from the start, Minnesota Vikings from the start. When we get beat up in the first quarter, you're not going to see no good defense until about maybe the middle of the third.
I think with Gannon, right, what throws me off with him is, and y'all brought up a good point, especially that stat about playing from behind and the defense really, let's be honest, it's sad to say the defense kind of been front runners, and, this defense, I can't even put on the players, because this defense, what separates this defense from last season to this season, if we're being completely honest, it's the amount of impact players that we have. You have C.J. Gardner-Johnson making an impact, playmaking plays, taking the ball away, creating extra possessions for the offense. Hassan Reddick, same thing, sacks, strip sacks, creating extra possessions for the offense. You got James Bradbury making impact plays. Darius Slay have making impact plays. You have so many playmakers on this defense, and I think the numbers don't tell the whole story. I think because of these guys being able to make so many plays, being as talented as they are, it's kind of elevated Jonathan Gannon as a play caller. It's kind of made him look a little bit better than what he really is. Because what stood out to me, and this is earlier in the season, right, kind of midway, what stood out to me was when the Eagles were getting gashed against the run, he didn't know what to do. You know what he did? He went up to Harry Roseman, knocked on that door and said, "Hey, can you bring me 2 more guys?" That is kind of alarming to me that you can't figure it out with the guys you have. You know, let's think about it. We've had a team where we've been able to stop the run before with Fletcher Cox, with Brandon Graham. You know what I'm saying? With worse linebackers. You dig? So it kind of blows my mind at times that he can't think himself out of a wet paper bag. You know, this defense that he runs, it's about players making the play, making impact plays. And one of the things that's required when it comes to playing from behind as a defense, if you need your defense to get you an extra possession, let's say the Eagles is behind and you need your defense to get a stop or make a play or whatever, you need to call the game in the way that you're dictating the pace, where you're being proactive and not reactive. And I think that's what separates Gannon from of certain D coordinators that I like, or other defenses that I like. He has these guys reacting instead of proacting. You got these guys playing off the line of scrimmage, when in reality, we saw in the second half, the reason they started becoming effective is because you had the DBs playing closer to the line. Josiah Scott was able to get physical a little bit. Bradbury was able to get physical a little bit. You dig what I'm saying? So you got to let these guys play their game. You got Darius Slay playing off the ball. He don't want to be off. He want to get physical with these guys. He want to play man to man. You got to allow these guys to play their football, because if he doesn't, if he allow these guys to play passively, they're not going to be as effective in the playoffs. You got to let your talent shine.
That's the real problem. I'm done with him, y'all. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. We 13-2. I'm done, and that's the real problem. Why don't you come out with the second half game plan and the start of the game? They might not even score. They have no wide receivers that are real threats. If we play man to man press coverage, bump and run, there's nobody that really could hurt you. I seen Hassan Reddick covering Olave in the flats. What kind of defense is that? They have nobody. Calvin Johnson ain't over there. We could play man-to-man on them dudes and bring pressure, and them dudes would have scored 6 points, the Saints. We would have already had this wrapped up, had our defensive coordinator had his mind on right. And this the kicker, though. This really, really why I'm done with him. He had the audacity to go into a press conference and say, you know where I'm going with this, Mike. The audacity, the mitigated gall to go into a press conference and say, well, Hassan Reddick would have had 25 sacks if I didn't drop him in coverage.
I ain't gonna lie. That's kind of like
what you drop him in coverage for then?
That's a smack in the face, y'all. Let's be honest.
It's a huge smack. It's a huge smack in the face because he's second in sacks. What you dropping him in coverage? Yeah. Sacks stop drives. You see what I'm saying? Sacks turn a point in games. He's second in sacks and first in forced fumbles from the edge position. Why the hell is he in coverage at all? If you want to call a coverage play for that side of the field, you need to put more linebackers on the field. Hassan Reddick need to be the angry dog going after the quarterback at all times. I was done when I heard that, because he don't care. It's a testament to he does whatever we ask him to do. Of course, he's a player.
But that's what I'm saying. Too, it's not like he's an end. He actually is a linebacker. So,
but he's second in sacks.
I said that, but like, there's any all stars this year, like star players. If you're a star quarterback, receiver, running back, we shut them down. There's only been like 1 or 2 of them that we didn't shut down that had decent games, but most of them we shut them down, like completely shut them down. There's been times in the game where we needed the defense to get that turnover, and Jalen Hurts made the touchdown. We win the football game. Like, I feel like the defense that we play is, player based, but a lot of good defenses are that way too as well. The more star players you have, the easier it is for you. If you can feel comfortable off the line because you got all these, defensive linemen and linebackers getting after the quarterback, that's why we have so many sacks. We have the most sacks ever. So obviously some of the stuff he's calling, you can't really get that mad about because it's working.
He's getting
I give him credit for running more stunts with. I will say this. I give him credit for figuring out the line combination by having Hassan Reddick next to Fletch and having Sweat next to Javon.
The rotation has been really good.
I give him credit for that, I give him credit for running more stunts. I give him credit for sending Hassan more and dropping him back less. I'm not going to pretend he's just ass out here. He has made some good decisions. I'm not gonna be that disingenuous.
LB's like, I'm not letting this.
But I don't agree with his philosophy. I don't agree with his philosophy by any stretch of my imagination.
This is the thing.
Run that. You know,
I would say
you can't mess up them defensive line combinations if you try. You can't mess them rotations up. The talent is there. So this is what happens. When you got to have Josiah Scott in, it crumbles because all they got to do is target that one guy because the scheme has that one weak link in it. When Avonte Maddox is not out there, the team looks completely different. So you mean to tell me it's trash? It's trash. There's no adjustment. So you mean to tell me that all you got to do is find that one chink in the armor and we sweep? No, you got to be able to adjust.
Well, look, let me say this about Gannon.
If you pick a guy, he should be able to cover that slot position. Maddox was playing great. Josiah Scott. So it's just like, why change your whole defense because that one player? He's telling you that we got enough talent. I should be able to still run the same thing, you know, with the backup in. Just like
but he did though. He did change his defense.
We tried. Josiah
Chauncey went down,
toast.
and when Chauncey went down and Avonte Maddox went down, we stopped playing man coverage altogether. We stopped. We stopped. A lot less. You know, there was a point in time like I forget what the ranking was, but prior to those injuries, the Eagles were kind of middle of the pack in terms of zone versus man coverage. Like they were kind of middle of the pack, meaning that they were blended it in. You didn't know really what they were doing. When those guys went down, zone coverage went way up, man coverage went way down, which tells me he lost trust in his safeties. He lost trust in linebackers. He lost trust in guys being able to cover when CJ and Avonte Maddox went down. And my thing is, you can't jump ship that fast.
Yeah, look. JG's biggest flaw to me is that his philosophy is nothing cheap, nothing deep. He's always going to play zone. He's going to feel a team out. Sometimes his adjustments take too long. I'm more of the philosophy that I'd rather be more aggressive than less aggressive. I understand that you cannot play zone. No D coordinator plays zone all game. No D coordinator plays man all game. A good blend of it is always going to be. You'll have a D coordinator that plays a little bit more zone, a little bit more man. I like the more man coordinator, and Jonathan Gannon is the opposite. However, he does play a lot more man when Avonte Maddox is there. And again, if he just would adjust quicker and play a little bit more man-to-man coverage, you can blitz on that. You can have you can play a mixture in the same play of zone and man. There's so many things he can do. I just think that the best games he's called, if you go back and look at the Vikings, the Titans, and the Giants, and even the Colts, there has been a lot more man-to-man. Avonte Maddox was out there, minus the Titans game, I believe. And it is what it is, but we are stuck with him. Listen, we either going to get to the Super Bowl or not get to the Super Bowl with this man calling the plays.
I got a question for you guys, then, because like you just said, Tony, too, you're like, yeah, when Maddox and CJ went out, you know, we went more zone, but that's any coach. You know, if you got two caliber players like that go out in your defense secondary, you're gonna adjust to like playing less man, no matter what defensive coordinator you are. That's just natural.
Drastic for me, man. It was.
But
drastic.
How many games has he lost this game? How many games have we lost due to defense?
He ain't played from behind that much.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. If you're trash defensive coordinator, you're trash defensive coordinator. You know.
All right, let me ask you this: Do you think this team is?
If we don't make that right,
fueled more by the offense or the defense? Let me ask all y'all this real quick. Do you think this team is fueled more by offense or fueled more by defense?
I think it's fueled more by offense, and I think the offense has been able to get some big leads. And the defense has been able to feast by just being able to pin their ears back and play one style that keeps the opposing offense in trouble. If Jalen Hurts was bad, the whole team would be getting exposed because the defense not even on the field that much because Jalen Hurts has these long methodical drives, not 4 straight 3-and-outs like Minshew. You know what I mean? The defense is always well rested. This defense has been benefiting with the performance of this offense.
Yeah, it's definitely the offense for me too, just because, I mean, honestly, if you look statistically, I can never say that word. I'm glad I got it out pretty good. If you look at it that way, right, you know, we're top 5 in a lot of defensive categories too, but I still say the offense is what fuels this because of the way we can score, the way we can play. We can high fly it, we can ground it, methodical drives, and the defense best friend is an 8, 9, 10-minute drive. Bro, the defense playing, the amount of snaps they play when Jalen Hurts is out there, it definitely fuels them for sure. But I still got to say the offense, we're top 3. What are we? Top 3 in points per game, yards per game, all that. So I still go offense when Hurts is the commander in charge.
I think it's driven by Hurts. Forget the offense or the defense. He fuels both.
Yeah.
Like you said, tops on defense, tops on offense. But when Hurts plays, all of them play better. Both sides. You know what I'm saying? Both sides play better for all those reasons you guys talked about before. Plus, he's just that motivated on the field. He brings that passion. The defense knows, if I got to give him the ball one more time, he's going to put it in there. He's going to get that touchdown at the end of the game. The offense knows if he's in there, we can run or pass. It doesn't matter. Like, it's more confidence throughout the whole team. But if you made me pick one, I'll have to go, the offense as well.
Yeah, real quick, shout to Mark G, though. When we were talking about the Gannon stuff, he said, well, no matter what Gannon calls, he's not the one out there making tackles or covering receivers. And like I said, I'll always want to play more man-to-man. And even though James Bradbury got cooked on that double move in the Saints game, but I don't even know who the receiver was.
Rashid. I saw something, Rashid. But real quick, I think I forgot who said this. Players take on the identity of the coach, their coach, their play caller, right? If your head coach is passive, if your head coach is passive, your coordinator is gonna be passive. If your coordinators are passive, it's gonna trickle down to the players. So sure, yeah, the players are out there, they gotta make the tackles, they gotta actually execute, right? But if my defensive coordinator is passive, that in turn is gonna affect how players execute. That's my humble opinion, though.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. These guys they've had the luxury of having an MVP caliber quarterback this season. You know what I mean? Think about this offense in a nutshell. The offensive line has been dominant. You see the smiles on these guys' faces when AJ cooking somebody, the deflection them. They all happy on the sideline because you see it time and time again. They more happy than the offense when Smitty and AJ cooking. They more, when Miles doing good, when Hurts out there posing, Fletcher and them having a field day because they know that the offense got to damn near play a Hail Mary style to get back into the game. You know what I mean? They know that the offense can't mix it up, and they got to abandon their game plan, and they got to, start waving a white flag soon if they don't get some points in a hurry. It's easy to play like that. That's why we get the sacks that we get. That's why when Avonte Maddox is out there, we're able to play man more. It's easy to play when you got a lead. And Jalen Hurts has been affording these guys with a lead. But the defense has been stepping up, though. You know what I mean? When you look at a lot of the statistical achievements of the defense, we chasing history this week with the 85 Bears sack record. I signed Reddick. How many nobody's ever had more. I think 4 or 5.
It's 4.
4.
Yeah.
We getting that. We had 6. We had 6 the last 5 games.
I think it's 4 to tie, 5 to break it. So I think we both right in that regard.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But you know what everybody gonna say after that? Oh, y'all had the extra game. That's what they gonna say.
Oh yeah.
But
that's
everybody's
gonna change the whole.
That would be okay.
The record now is gonna break it, but there's gonna be an asterisk that they broke it into 17 games season, not a 16 game season.
But nobody came close though. That's the whole thing. Like my thing is, the extra game, cool, but let's be totally frank about this. The next team that's closest in sacks is the Patriots, and they got like 52. So my point is, like, this is not just a neck and neck race. Everybody not benefiting from this extra game in terms of the sacks. We just going crazy. Let's be honest about it.
It's crazy, man. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, nobody has. I mean, this is like crazy, man. Dude's literally eating every week, and you know what I mean. And then this what makes it even more crazy. Our first round pick really not that involved in the party. You know what I mean? The guy that we thought that was going to really be the reason why we would be looking like this on the front, he really just learning and soaking up all this game because it's going to look real different next year. You know what I mean? I don't even want to have that conversation into the offseason because it's going to break my heart. It's going to look real different next year. You know what I mean? You can't afford to pay everybody, man. You know what I mean? Like, let's talk about that actually. You know what I mean? Like, where do you prioritize who you need to pay in the offseason? If it's my top 3 guys for me, I'm paying Gardner Johnson. I'm paying Hargrave too. I'm paying Gardner Johnson, Hargrave, and Bradbury. If it's me, them the 3 guys I'm paying, man.
That's fascinating. Mike, you can go. I got to think about a little bit. I got to think a little bit.
Well, listen, I think the Hurts deal is going to be talked about too. Shout to Les Grossman, though.
Listen, that's getting done.
That's
getting done. But I mean, that deal, depending on the numbers, is going to let you know. But if I had to pick 3 guys who are free agents to bring back, it's definitely Garner Johnson. It's Hargrave. It's Hargrave because Fletcher's going to be gone.
Right.
So I'll go that. But the third one,
the third one's the hard one.
Do Brad.
Bradbury going to want top. Bradbury going to top. Bradbury going to want more than Slate per year.
Listen, Slate's supposed to be getting 17 next year. He's supposed to be getting 17. So
they're going how you know come on, man. How we going to fix that?
Yo, I tell you this, right? I want CJ. I want Javon. Because he seems like he getting better than me. I'm be honest.
Right.
I want CJ because he's like 24, 25, going brazy at the safety position. And worst case scenario, you can interchange him at that slot if need be. You can get creative with him. So yeah, I want CJ. I want Javon. And my third guy I'm bringing back. The third one's the hard one.
Somehow I feel like you got to do something for TJ Edwards. I know he's under contract.
I was going to say
that. I know it's minuscule. You got to rework that. You got to do something. You got to do something for him. I mean, he a dog, man.
He's like the he like the orchestrator a little bit to me. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the brains back there. He makes sure everybody lined up right, so on and so forth. And he's so good in run defense, man. And I don't want to give up the run defense. I wouldn't be surprised if this team draft the corner maybe in the first or second round. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I got to go CJ, I got to go Javon, and I got to go TJ, man, because that's probably going to be more cost effective than bringing back Bradbury. So
we need to draft a cornerback high. I'm tired of this third round, fourth round. We got to get a cornerback in it high. Think about someone. I mean, like Marshawn, like the draft Marshawn Lattimore came out. I really wanted him. And I did have high hopes for Sidney Jones off the injury. You know what I mean? I had high hopes. But, you know, even though Slade's under contract next year, think about it. If Bradbury walks, I would definitely try to get Bradbury on like a 2-year deal or something like that. He's going to want big time money, though. But both our corners are older. So even if they play next year or next 2 years, we got to think about the future, their cornerback position. And you want to get the guys in now. Like we got Cam Jurgens a year before Kelsey leaves. We got Jordan Davis a year before Fletch leaves. You know what I mean? But it's tough because and Miles Sanders, it's not like we don't like him, but like, man, it depends on the money. And everybody's having a career year. Think about it. This is Bradbury's best year since he made a Pro Bowl, you know, and that's what got him paid for the Giants. CJ Gardner-Johnson, interception leader. Everybody is playing at their highest level. And so when Penn gets pushed to paper, you got to pay them off their production. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But if anybody can do it, it's Howie. It's Howie.
Howie can do that.
It's Howie.
Now we can do that.
Listen, man. Listen,
Sanders in my big 3.
I don't think Jalen Hurts taking no deal, bro.
You mean a pay cut?
Pull out the break.
I mean, not a pay cut. A team friendly deal.
He ain't taking no team friendly. Yeah, I don't think he's taking no team friendly, man.
What? Why should he?
Yeah, facts. Number one, like why should he? Number two, I just don't think so, man. You know what I mean? You got to think about the real impact that he's had on this team. AJ Brown don't come here if Jalen Hurts ain't here. That's number one. You know what I mean? The offense don't look. People are basically trying to emulate what we're doing. They got Marcus Mariota out there trying to look like Hurts. The Bears said that, and they hope that Justin Fields could turn out like Jalen Hurts. You know, Jalen Hurts went from being the league's most hated guy, you know what I mean, to being the guy that everybody trying to copycat. Yeah, you know what I mean? I think that. I don't know, man. It depends on how far we go. If we go to the NFC Championship game or greater, then he take a team-friendly deal to keep his core together. But when you think about it, his core is together. His offense is signed and locked up. Dallas got it under contract. Smitty rookie deal. AJ got the bag last year. AJ damn near exceeded his bag. If AJ would have did this last year in Tennessee, AJ would have $28 million a year. You know what I mean? Coming into Philly. So you know what I mean?
30, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The offensive line locked up. Replacements already there. Guys under contract. Jalen Hurts don't give a damn about no team-friendly deal, in my opinion. That's on Howie Roseman and Jonathan Gannon and them guys to figure out how to fix things once guys start leaving on that defense.
And the value already went. The value skyrocketed with Gardner Minshew and the offense looking crazy without him. Like
we got to pay him before
value,
the other ones too.
Bingo. I'm glad you said that, Mike.
Before Lamar Jackson gets paid, before Justin Herbert, before Joe Burrow, you got to pay him because the market goes up, and all Hurts's agent is going to do is, we went farther than these guys. Look what these guys are getting paid. This is where we start. The Kyler Murray, the bloody boo blah. This is where we start. So again, remember, we were the first to sign Carson Wentz. We signed Carson Wentz before Jared Goff. We signed Carson Wentz before the couple quarterbacks coming up. We signed them. Oh, Carson Wentz was the highest paid quarterback for a little bit. The couple quarterbacks took it. And now if Wentz was a good player, his deal would be a bargain. But now he's still overpaid because he's Trinidad. But go ahead, Bergang, let us know your three real quick. I know you were trying to get it in. The contract is bad now, but you know what I mean. How we got to come first to market.
But like you guys said, I think you do need to bring back Booby. You know, to me, my number 1, 2, 3, Booby, CJ, and Hargrave. You know what I'm saying? You hit one spot each. You know
what you
saying?
Trying to pay, Miles?
Your own defense.
What does the contract in a year look? How many? Is it a short? Is it how many years? What is it?
Like 3 year, 10 a year, 3 year, 30 million.
I mean, if we could do that, then I'll do it. I can't get into the teens. I can't get 14, 15, 16s.
I think Booby will take a franchise tag.
He even knows he hasn't been healthy and he hasn't been doing these numbers forever. He knows it. You heard him coming to this season talking about that, how he knows he needs to get better. He knows he needs to be more consistent. He knows he needs to stay healthy. So him knowing that, I feel like if he really wants to stay with us, which I think he does, he's going to do it. And even with the Jalen Hurts thing, he might not get number one quarterback money. The team friendly would be like, okay, you saved like 10 million here, 10 million there. I think Jalen should be smart and bank on himself again and go like a 2-3 year deal for like, whatever going rate is, 20 million a year for 3 years, what I'm saying, fully guaranteed, and then worry about banking it up later, getting that mega deal.
Hell no.
That man ain't signing for 20 million a year. You got the
20 million? Who gets that?
That's
he didn't even make 20 million, doesn't it?
He ain't making less than AJ Brown. Just trust that he's not making less than AJ Brown on a per year basis.
Jalen Hurts is going to get $40 million a year plus.
42 million. 42 million minimum.
$40 million a year plus.
But to your point about Miles, right?
That's 35. Is that 35? Is if only if he want to be nice. Look, man, and then if you do give him 35, he getting
the conversation starts at 40. The conversation starts at 40.
It starts at Kyler Murray. Right. Whatever that contract was, it start there. You know what I mean? But real quick, guys. Real quick, you brought up the Miles contract. I think that's more fascinating because I think we know Jalen getting his money, right? I think the Miles contract is more fascinating because he's ready to give him $10 million a year. And let me put it in this perspective, right? All right. Aaron Jones, his average salary is $12 million a year. Is he better than Aaron Jones? No. All right, let's go down further. Joe Mixon, average $12 million a year. He's not better than Joe Mixon, in my opinion. And then Saquon Barkley, he's still on that other deal. He right now he's $7.7 million. So my thing is, right, Miles Sanders, it's hard to gauge his contract because there's so many variables that attributed to his success. Jalen Hurts being as effective as he is, the offensive line being so dominant that any running back can average 4 yards a carry. Miles is only averaging 5 yards, so that's a 1 yard differential. I mean, I'm paying you $10 million for an extra yard. I mean, I could just let you bring in a young guy and have a running back by committee, and my guy's averaging 4 yards a carry minimum. That's still good. I mean, they're gonna get Gainwell the keys next year. Gainwell gonna get the keys next year. I don't feel comfortable with Gainwell getting the keys all the way, man. Maybe give him, I don't know, man. Maybe give him a back door key, but not the front door. Like he can't get the front door key. I don't know, man.
Give him a key to the locker.
Yeah, man. He get the key. He get the key to the screen door. How about that?
They were like Gainwell could take over for him, but he's not. He's still not. Like you said, he might not be overall better than those guys this year. I think he's playing just as good, if not better, but not overall better than a Mixon or one of those guys. But he is still dangerous. He has averaged that his whole career. You know what I'm saying? This is something you don't have to worry about replacing, moving down in the near future. More time with Jalen is definitely going to get him. More yards, your offense will be that much more dangerous, with the weapons you already got. So I think that'd be about right. If you're saying those guys make 12 a year, He can take 10.
I don't believe in paying a running back. Let me just make it real simple.
You got to realize salary cap also goes up every single year moving forward too. So it's not like
the fascinating thing.
Huh?
Well, I was saying the fascinating thing about Miles Sanders is, he don't got a lot of tread on his tires.
Yeah.
He hasn't had that many carries over the last few years, but also at the same time, it's other priorities and other needs of this football team that got to get money before Miles Sanders. That's just the sad reality of it. Like, you could bring back Gainwell is on a rookie deal, and you still could
also Scott getting paid pennies on the dollar.
That's what I'm saying. You could bring back Boston Scott for nothing. You know what I mean?
You could bring back Boston Scott, just to promise him the Giants matchups. That's all you got to do is tell him you play the Giants twice a year. That's all. He'll come back, man, for a cheeseburger in the parking spot. Like,
they're not moving though. That's not helping our offense. Like you guys all said, the offense is what drives this team. So why wouldn't you want to keep that complete before you worked on the defense? To me, the defensive side easier to
we got to
replace
play
parts.
defense. We got nobody on our like all the contracts are on the offense. If you look at the defense, I mean, our whole secondary there's nobody in the secondary with a 3-year deal. There's nobody in the secondary that is going to be on the Eagles for the past 2 years. We're talking about for Marcus Epps. He needs a contract. Blankenship is on a rookie deal. It is what it is. But between Slay, Bradbury, Kaiser, Edwards, like our whole secondary, the whole back end of the defense are going to be going within the next year or two. So we as much as we want Miles Sanders, the offense can function without Miles Sanders more than the defense can function without our whole back end. You got to shore up some of them people.
And the sad thing is, you know what I hear about this conversation?
Miles. I love Miles.
And that's the cool thing about the conversation. That's the cool thing about the conversation. It makes you sound like this conversation sucks because it makes it sound like you hating on Miles. And it's not the case, right? The reality is they're not gonna pay him. He bought
what's the franchise tag? How much is the franchise tag? It's the franchise tag for the running back next year will be what, it'll be like 13 million or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's more than that. You talk about homeboy deal from the Packers. What's his name? We just talked about him.
Aaron Jones.
You talk about Aaron Jones deal. That was a couple years ago.
If we could do 8, 9, 10, I'll try to even go a little lower than 10. But if Miles will rock with an 8, 9, 10, 3, 4-year deal, 5-year deal, then we talk about it. I really do love
tag for the running backs.
My deal.
The franchise tag for the running backs right now, projected in 2023 is supposed to be 10.1 million.
Then do it. One more year. Yeah. Franchise tag him.
And then, you're looking down the
calling
road
up Howie right now.
Every single year, we're going to gain more money to be able to maneuver. We got Howie Roseman, best GM in there. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I think you can squeeze 2 years out of him.
First, we have a player that can replace him. You're talking about an Edwards. Dean is going to be ready to play next year. He's going to be out there balling. So you can replace one of your linebackers that leave with Dean. If Hargrave does go, if Fletch does go, we still got young guys like Milton Williams, freaking Marlon's coming back. He played good this year. And then you still got big Jordan Davis out there. He's going to be that much better next year. You know what I'm saying? There's players on that defensive side you can fill in. Plus, who knows free agency.
What about the secondary?
Trades and stuff like that. Secondary, you can get if you get CJ back, I'm saying you got to get him back. You get him back. You still got Epps.
Hey, listen, franchise tag looking good. It's right at BG's number too. He said 10 million, and it's projected to be what, 10.1. Hey, tag him again. Miles will get some money from his pockets. A nice little 10 million is still nice, perfectly done. And then he can bet on himself again, because if he comes out in next year and gets 12 to 1,300 yards, stays healthy, now that's back-to-back seasons. Whoever's going to give him the long-term deal, whether it's us then or somebody else, he's done work for it. So I wouldn't be opposed to franchise tagging him.
I would keep him for 2 years. I would try to give him like 16 million 2 years.
Here's the thing, right? Running backs understand. Running backs understand the value of that position, and they understand that they probably gonna get one. Like the second contract is probably their best and only contract after that. You know what I'm saying? Like you saw how the league did Todd Gurley. Granted he had injuries, but my point is though, the running back position, the value of it is so low in comparison to other positions. You can't prioritize Miles' contract over C.J. Gardner-Johnson or Bradbury or anybody. You can't prioritize it over them, for one. And then on top of that, Miles looking at it like, hold on, I don't know how long I could do this. Yeah, he ain't got that many trust on the tires, like we all know. We know that, but he looking at it like, I'm a running back at the end of the day. I got to get as many coins as I can, as many guaranteed dollars as I possibly can get right now while I still got my legs under me. Because we see what the Zeke contract did, and we see how he playing, declining, and it's visible. I think Miles is looking at it like franchise tag, man. Either y'all give me a contract or I'm not showing up. I think Miles
we're
moody.
Really
You know what I'm saying? He moody.
I think what hurt him is the ability to not really be that guy in the catching game. If he would have shown that if he would have shown that he could really be another weapon in the passing game, this is a no-brainer that they would have tried to work something out for him. But you could really, honestly, as bad as it sounds, you could get anybody out of college to tote the rock behind this offensive line.
He's not even the 3-down running back in Philly. They take him out on third downs, put Gainwell in.
Bro, they only ran him 2 times in the first half last week.
I'm with you. I agree. I'm with you. That's crazy.
All that makes it feel like, again, no matter what we feel is right, if Howie Roseman understands, sees what Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen is doing out there, and Miles Sanders' biggest thing he said was opportunities. He might love the Eagles, right? He might want to be a PA guy because he did play, in Penn State.
Yeah. He's from Pittsburgh, right? From
Pittsburgh, right? All that being said, Miles also wants to get paid. He understands that the running back's only going to get one big deal before it's all done. And he might also say, dang, I can go to another team where they give me the rock 20 times every single Sunday. So it is tough. And the way we treat running backs, again, not we as us on the panel, but the way the coaching staff does it, I'm a gambler. And if they ask me, did the coaching staff value Miles Sanders over other positions? I'm going to have to say no. It's evident out there. When Miles Sanders is running the ball, he runs the ball 15 and under way more than he does 15 and over. And that being said right there just shows you the level of confidence or the level of importance to the coaching staff the running back position is. So
and he had Pro Bowl. The first one up.
But maybe he looks at that, and that's the reason why he takes a good deal and stays with us, because he's going to realize too. You might not have the best.
BG, I know I love about BG. Listen, BG's always going to
the best. Listen, he even said it. The line even said it. He runs better because Jalen Hurts is there. So you're not going to have a Jalen Hurts on whatever team you go to. You're not going to have the best off the line whatever team you go to. You're not even going to have the skill position out on the outside to help open it up for you. You can go to the team and have a good offensive line, some crappy receivers on the outside. They give you the rock and you get pounded all the time. Your career is going to be shorter. You got to think smartly, too, as a business. You know what I'm saying? You might only get 15 carries a game, but look, you're pumping out 1,300 yards. That's pretty good. Your stats are going to continue to go up. You're going to stay healthy. You're going to be more fresher.
He's saying that. He's saying that in front of the cameras, but you think him and his agent not talking about the listen, Miles. Come on, man. Like, I understand. Like, I love this team.
Miles very well can command top dollar.
And Miles, because he a Pro Bowler now, he as effective as he was. You can say we can say. I mean, we know the truth. Jalen Hurts is half of those yards his. Matter of fact, he need to put Jalen Hurts' name on that contract too, so he get his cut. But we know that. But guess what? His agent gonna look at it like, look, my running back put up 1,300 rushing yards, 10, 11 rushing touchdowns, averaging 5 yards a carry. Like y'all need to run it. Y'all need to run it because guess what? Other teams, a team that's desperate for a running back, somebody gonna pay a running back. It might be Houston Texans. You never know. They might pay. Well, they got Damian Pierce to take that back. But my point is, a team gonna pay Miles. Somebody gonna give him the bag, and he gonna go to where the bag is. I promise you that. Especially, and why do you think Howie? I bet you if this team was doing a little bit more average, Howie would have been got contracts done. But he has no leverage right now with this team being as good as it is. So he got to play hardball a little bit. And trust me, Miles is not even top 5 on his priorities as far as contracts. I tell you that right now.
Let me just say this about Miles. Man, like I said, I really do hope he can come back. And what BG's saying, if we can get him for that price, or even like LB, something like a 2-year deal, I'll definitely do it. But there's a lot. Here's one thing that can help us. There's a lot of running backs that are going to be on the market this offseason. Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard, Miles Sanders. And there's a few more too. I think Aaron Jones.
Josh Jacobs, I think too.
Aaron Jones, because he
Josh
got
Jacobs,
franchise.
who leads the league in
Josh
rushing.
Jacobs. So here's the thing. For these desperate teams that need running backs, it's not like Miles Sanders is first on the list. People gonna be looking at.
No, I don't know about that, Mike. Miles got the least tread.
But he do got
the least tread.
You do got an injury.
You can lowball Miles because everybody else is out there.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
gonna be
that's
the
the
wild.
thing
It's gonna
though.
be the Wild Wild West.
If just say it was like this though. Say the running back market was like Miles Sanders and then a bunch of average guys. Well, then he's gonna get all
He
the
will
eyes.
whack him.
At
He will
least,
whack
at least,
them.
at least we got some wiggle room. It's like, teams are gonna be bidding for others. You know what I mean? It's not the only Mercedes Benz on the lot. We might be able to slip through the cracks and get them back.
Honestly, I think this is our perfect opportunity to get that big body back. Everybody say we need it. I don't think you need him, but in the fashion that Jalen Hurts. Shit, would I take it? Would I take it? You know what Josh Jacobs could do? Listen, this is the one thing about Miles Sanders' game that still need to be developed besides his passing game. Miles Sanders don't be blocking that good. You know what I'm saying? So, sometimes you can get around Miles Sanders, you can go through Miles Sanders. With the way we run these RPOs, if the running back don't got the ball, he got to be able to block sometime, man, to help extend some of these plays. Yeah, you got to affect the game in other ways when you don't get the ball. You know what I mean? And I think this could be the perfect opportunity to get a big young boy, man, that you can hold for a couple of years. But we'll see.
That dude from Texas, first round next year. I think we should keep still draft him.
Wait, you said draft the running back in the first round?
Yeah.
I can't do that.
The Eagles ain't gonna never do that.
I would never draft the running back in the first round.
You got 2 picks.
The Eagles gonna draft
quarterback.
That dude
defensive line. The Eagles gonna draft defensive lineman.
Yeah.
And look at the other pick.
I need a corner early. I'm tired of these Hail Mary corners. Like, please be good. I need a corner in the early rounds that when Slay and Bradbury, if we get Bradbury back, when they leave, I feel confident about. Like, I need a first round corner. And it sucks that we didn't beat the Saints. It sucks that we not only we could have wrapped up number one thing, but we could have made that draft pick better. We shot ourselves in the foot twice.
Yeah, but we gotta also know that we gotta also keep an elite running back there with Jalen. Because that RPO stuff, guess what? If you have an average running back, Jalen's gonna get hit a lot more. He's gonna keep the ball a lot more. He's gonna have to do more when you don't have that talent back there. No one's gonna really worry about that talent, the other back. They're gonna worry about Jalen a lot more. They're gonna hit him a lot more. I
don't think we give enough credit to this offensive line, man. Like it's not the running like this gonna always sound like I'm dogging Miles because I'm really not, man. Like I really like Miles Sanders, but we need to stop pretending Miles Sanders is transcendent. Like
this is the thing though.
But what other back done so good?
Somebody else got to prove that they could do what he do though. I don't think Gainwell could do it. I don't think Scott can do it.
No, I get that. I get. I'm not saying they're the ones, but like you could draft. Like, come on, man.
Let me ask y'all a question real
Kenneth
quick.
Walker, Damian Pierce, those guys, what, second, third, fourth round picks? Like, it's guys out there, man. This offensive line, like, I don't know, man.
Let me ask you this real quick.
Let me just be quiet on
Jason
this
Kelsey
topic.
wants to come back one more year, what are y'all doing?
Jason
Kelsey said, I want one more year, Eagles. Listen, I know I keep complaining every year, but I'm feeling good. My podcast is doing good. We winning games. Listen, if he talk about I want one more year.
You know what I'm doing?
What are y'all doing? That's another guy.
Hey, Jurgens, I need you at right guard.
They're gonna bring it back.
Right?
Jurgens, I need you at right guard. Because remember, Isaac need a contract too. So, hey, Jurgens, I need you at right guard. Samalu, I'll talk to you on the flip side, player.
Yeah, they're gonna bring him back. I mean, look how many times they brought Jason Peters back. You better bring Kelsey back.
Jason Peters wanted to come back. Right. Jason Peters lost me when they had him at right guard, left guard, and then somebody got hurt and they needed him to play tackle. He not right on Howie Door. I said I need this contract tweaked a little bit, cuz.
Yeah. He ain't trying to take no discount.
No short. He ain't taking no shorts.
We definitely coming up on an hour, man. What else? Is there anything else we need to cover before this game?
Okay, I got a question for all you guys. Mm-hmm. We talked about this on my show, LB. I think before season. Is this the best Eagles team ever?
That's a good question right now.
Remember?
Right now, that's a good question. That's a good question right now. I remember you had that. You had that question. You got to for me to even talk like that. You got to at least get to the NFC Championship game. Yeah. For me to even begin to talk like that. I mean, the 2017 Eagles got to be the best team ever. They won a Super Bowl.
Birds.
You know what I'm saying? But for me to even talk like this, we got to get to the NFC Championship game. Now, if we get to the Super Bowl, I'm going to say yeah.
To be determined. That's my thing. To be determined.
Right.
We have the writings on the wall The writing is on the wall for this to be the best Eagles team. But like LB said, man, you say this now, and I don't even want to put it out there. But if there was ever a one, and you know what the rest of the sentence is, I'm not even going to put it in the atmosphere.
Yeah,
but then that would just change the complexion of how we feel so much. So I gotta wait and see. I can't. But this team is legit. That's all I'll say.
Yeah,
definitely legit.
I think for this to be considered the best Eagles team of all time, they got to win it all. To me, I'm sorry, like you got to win it all because everything else is for nothing. Like in my opinion, it's for nothing. You maybe I'm being greedy, man. Maybe I'm being a little overzealous, or over ambitious. But you gotta win it all straight like that. Because what we're gonna do, we're gonna look back and say, hey, that was a fun year, but why not make it a good year? Why not make it a great year? Like I don't know, man. I'm real big on the results, and if y'all break these records, y'all doing all this, and see now, I would be cool with it. Maybe if Jalen got the MVP and then we lost in the NFC Championship game or whatever, but the bottom line is you gotta run through the tape, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Like that's my mindset. Real quick, BG, I want to give you credit, man, because BG, like he relentless with his passion. I love that about him. You can't tell him no wrong about these Eagles. I love it. I love it, man. I go to war with you any day, bro. Real rap.
They was calling BG crazy when he said we was going to win like 13 games all offseason.
Yeah, what's so crazy about it? Like I still got that. I still got it written down, and BG was on it early. And BG had this team going. He had this team going 15-2. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen because they dropped the ball. But my point is, I got to give you credit, bro, because from the gum bust, you said, watch Jalen go crazy this year. Just watch. I'm telling you, just watch. He
was saying MVP.
Crazy.
He was saying all of that.
He was saying MVP. He was saying all that, right? And for the most part, it came true. Now, I mean, he's not going to throw 30 touchdowns. He's not going to hit 4,000 yards most likely. So, I mean, obviously, statistically, it didn't. He still improved, right? He did all the right things. Let's put it that way.
He was on pace. He was on pace to have that type of season.
He would have did it. He would have did it. Barring injury and all that. But I just gotta give BG credit, man. Like you've been rocking like so early, and now we all knew he was going to elevate, right? We all knew Hurts was going to take his game to another level. We all knew that, but I don't think, except for BG, of course, I don't think any of us really expected it to be this big of a jump. I don't think anybody could just say they knew that was going to happen. I knew he was going to improve. But how much was the question?
I knew he was going to prove that he was the franchise quarterback. I didn't know he was going to go this hard. Now I want to ask you a question now, BG and everybody else. Is this the best season from a quarterback we've seen in the Eagles franchise history? Because I think that's true. I think this is the best season from a quarterback we've seen in Eagles franchise history.
Yes.
Listen, as much as we hate Wentz, that one season was real good too. But yeah, I still put Hurts. This season has been. I mean, he's been terrific. He's been great. He was leading the MVP until he got hurt. And as BG said, you can make the statement now, if you're going to go narrative based, that it helped him in the sense that his team is 0-2 without him and only lost one game with him, plus all the accolades, the stats, the winning, and all that stuff. But yeah, the jump has been tremendous. A lot of us believed in him, but like BG always said that the Eagles are going to be Super Bowl bound, and so I'm a wait and see type thing. And real quick,
this is the best team of all time. Mark it down, okay? Like you guys want to wait? I'm not waiting. I'm saying this is going to be the best. This is the most specialist Eagles team ever.
Specialist. Now, but look, I will say this though, mind you, as much as Tone said it, and LB didn't go as far as that we have to win it, but he said let's get to the NFC Championship plus. In the game of football, the best team don't always win. You know that, right?
True.
The New England Patriots were the best team that year when they went 18-1. They were the best football team talent-wise. The Giants beat them, though. So as much as – and so I'll give BG credit there. The best team don't always win a Super Bowl. And someone said it in the chat, like that 2004 team talent-wise was probably better than the 17 team talent-wise, but one got it done, one didn't. Because, again, the best team don't always win. So it's a different question when you ask best team talent-wise or just best team in general. But winning is still what we all come to watch. We watch Sundays because we want to see a dub. You know what I mean? So it's tough. But the best team doesn't always win.
Best year we've had, right? 14-3.
Yeah, we've never had 14 wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, never. Yeah. So y'all brought up that the whole best season by a quarterback. That's a good question, LB. because like as good as Carson Wentz was that year, he only was completing 60% of his passes. Like a lot of people, you don't really notice it, but he really was only complete. He was below the league average, you know. But the
this
team was so
this
good.
what he was good at though.
He was good on third down. He was good. He was good in the red zone.
Level on third down.
He was next. He was next level on third down. And his touchdown interception ratio was crazy. 33 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. Right,
and that's in 13 games.
You know, and that's in 13 games. Jalen Hurts, 13-1. Carson Wentz 11-2. Jalen was obviously more accurate. He threw for more yards.
I'm taking
that's a tough one.
You got to take Jalen season because he rushed for 13 touchdowns and like
that's a good point. That's a good point.
You got to take Jalen season.
That's a good point.
So Jalen played what? Jalen played how many? He missed the last 2. So what? We're in
14 games.
So Jalen played 14 games and Wentz played 13 games.
And he had 35 touchdowns because I don't care. A touchdown is a touchdown. They still putting 6 on the board.
It's a good. No, you're right. You're right. You know, I think I'm gonna go. Y'all convinced me. I think I'm gonna go with Jalen because it just looks different to me. It just looked more dynamic, if you ask me.
Plus, you want to know? You know why? The best thing is this ain't gonna be just 1 year from Jalen Hurts like it was for Carson Wentz. Yeah. We got one. We definitely got one.
Sure, man. It's exciting.
We definitely about to wrap it up though, man. I hope Patrick Mahomes threw 5 picks today.
He on fire right now. I don't know.
He on fire right now. I hope Patrick Mahomes throw 5 picks and Jalen throw 5 touchdowns tomorrow to tighten up this race or whatever the case may be. But I definitely want to thank y'all, man, for tapping in with us, man. Shout out to Mike. Shout out to the fellas, BG. Shout out to Tone. You know what I mean? And tomorrow we definitely should be making our first round buy videos from all 4 content creators, man. It's just going to be good work, man. So enjoy y'all night. Watch Saturday Night Football. If that's what y'all going to do, that's what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? And, you know, tomorrow we're going to be division champs. We're going to have that #1 seed, man. So from us to y'all, man, enjoy y'all Saturday night, man, and be safe.
Peace.
Peace.